Stephen A. Smith just hit Angel Reese with a dirty bomb.
Well, first of all, it's not a rivalry. Not when you lose about 35 points.
That's true.
It's not rivalry. Indiana Fever's on a different level than the Chicago Sky. Let's get that out the way. Secondly, as much as we love Angel Reese because she is special, she's not Caitlin Clark as a player. Caitlin Clark is in a different level.
After Reese's fight with Caitlin Clark during their WNBA game, the basketball world is going crazy. Smith didn't hold back and told the ugly truth about this so-called feud. The famous sportscaster finally said what everyone has been thinking. This isn't just another opinion piece. That would be the end of your job, or let me paint you a picture. A very exciting game was played to start the WNBA season this past weekend. Indiana Fever, coached by Caitlin Clark, will fight Chicago Sky, coached by Angel Reese. It wasn't even close. The Fever blew out the Sky 9-3-5-8, and Clark showed why she's the most talked about player in the game. But what happened during the game has made everything else seem less important. In one play, Clark did something that the officials later called a flagrant 1 foul on Reese. What next? Complete chaos. Right after the play, Reese tried to talk to Clark, but Fever forward Aaliyah Boston stepped in between them to keep things from getting worse. This is where things get interesting.
I have an issue with the way she reacted. I have an issue with the way it's being handled by her, by the Chicago Sky, everybody involved. I have a problem with it being called a flagrant foul. It's a take foul.
At this time, the WNBA is looking into claims that some fans made rude comments about Angel Reese after this happened. Adam Fox, CEO of the Sky, said in a statement, "We welcome the WNBA's investigation into claims of fan misconduct during our first game of the season. We will do everything we can to keep Chicago Sky fans safe." The league replied with their own message. There is no room for racism, hate, or discrimination in the WNBA. They don't belong in our league or in society in general. We are aware of the claims and are looking into them. But Stephen A. Smith, who is never afraid to say what he thinks, had a very different view. He had basketball expert Monica McNutt on his show to talk about what happened. Even though McNutt tried to be polite, Stephen A. wouldn't listen.
I do think I'm with Janae. I do think there was a little extra sauce on this one in terms of having your teammates back. But to me, again, this falls under the guise of competition, and y'all gotta let these women compete.
Does Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have any love or like for one another at all?
Respect.
Yeah, they have respect.
That ain't what I asked. I know what the difference, I think.
Oh, sorry. First, Stephen A. asked McNutt about the basketball part of things. According to McNutt, it was a basketball play that was correctly called by the judges. It was brought up that this kind of rough play happens all the time in the WNBA and that it happened in other games over the weekend. But Stephen A. didn't want to play down the situation. He pressed McNutt on the more important problems.
Fun moments that we were able to witness in women's basketball.
Janae, respectfully, I asked you a yes or no question. I mean, I just asked. I didn't ask for all of that. I'm asking you because I know you know. Yes, so, I know you too know. I'm asking a direct question.
Especially the claims that Reese was being treated badly because of her race. At this point, the discussion moved on to the more important issues. The media and fans seemed to talk about these two players in the same way over and over again. She said that whenever these issues get talked about in public, it's clear that Caitlin is always seen as the victim and Angel is always seen as the bad guy. As a woman, I see that as a result of what I've seen about their race and where they are from. Stephen A. showed a lot of restraint when he said he wouldn't argue with her on this point. Instead, he let her speak and teach me and my listeners. Then he asked the most important question. What's the bigger worry? Is it because of race or because people seem to naturally think that men can act however they want, while women should follow certain rules? McNutt had a hard time with this question and said she was having trouble with two things being true at the same time. Some people think that women should be able to fight as hard as men. On the other hand, the people who play in the WNBA should be extra safe because they are sensitive. Stephen A. didn't agree with this way of thought, though. He told Reese the harsh truth, even though he knew it was wrong how she was being treated. It's not going to change. Then he dropped a bomb that shocked everyone. He said that playing the part of an outcast might not be such a bad thing sometimes, since who gets to be heard anyway? The outcast most of the time, that is, Stephen A. was telling Reese and those who back her to stop being the victim and start making money off of the controversy. We know they're wrong and won't change, so let's not get caught up in them. He said, let's pay more attention to what we can peel from it. This is typical Stephen Smith. He cuts through the noise and says things that other people are afraid to say. Not that he doesn't think Ree is being treated unfairly, but he wants her to rise above it instead of feeling sorry for herself. As the talk went on, McNutt said that he was worried about fans' behavior getting too dangerous. Stephen Akin agreed with this point, but he changed the subject in a way that only he could. When men try to cross the lines and get in the faces of women, we should be much more worried than when women try to get in the faces of other women. That is, guys had to deal with other guys, and girls had to deal with other girls. However, when you act like a punk and talk to women that way, we all have to deal with you on that level. Stephen A. did something very smart here. He is moving the conversation from McNutt's focus on race to a gender conversation that everyone can agree on. Who would argue against keeping women safe from male fans who are mean? No one. He is, however, slightly undermining the racial story that Reese's supporters have been pushing by doing this. The most telling part of the conversation then came up. Stephen A. asked McNutt if she thought the WNBA could become even more popular, because of the attention this kind of thing could bring from a competitive point of view. Yes, but at what cost? McNutt asked after some thought. She then said that she was worried that the debate might take away from the basketball game. It's not about sensitive issues that the league needs to grow. It's about being able to enjoy the beauty of the game. Stephen A. wouldn't give up, though. It may be the best hope for the league and all of us from a societal point of view when it starts a conversation like the one we had this morning, when the world gets to hear Monica. McNutt and Chengamake talk in depth about not only what the league is, but also what it wants to be. They should welcome the controversy instead of running away from it because it makes for good sales. After the drama was over, the talk turned to the game itself, which had been totally forgotten. Because of the moves they made over the off-season, like hiring experienced coach Stephanie White and adding veterans like Natasha Howard and Dana Bonner to help Clark, McNutt agreed that Indiana has a real chance to be one of the last 4 teams left. This is another clever jab at Ree. Clark's team is getting stronger by adding teachers and players with more experience who want to work with her. It looks like Reese's team is having trouble. It's clear what the meaning is. Clark is wanted to play with. They do not wish to play with Ree. This is where Robert Griffin III, a former NFL star, comes in. RG3 wrote on social media after the game, "There is no way Angel Reese can keep lying that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark after seeing her clear foul on Angel Reese and what happened afterward. I know what it means to hate someone. Angel Reese really hates Caitlin Clark. It's not just a basketball rivalry hate. This is a huge surprise from RG3, who has been on Reese's side in the past. He's basically saying what a lot of people have been thinking all along, that Reese hates Clark on a personal level, not just because they are competitors. Arjun went on to say that this hatred has been clear since they met at the national title game, and Angel Reese started making fun of her right afterward. When they win, your first thought is, I need to make fun of the other team's star. Kat Clark has only made Angel Reese popular. She has never done anything else for her. This is what Stephen A. Smith did to destroy Angel Reese. He's not just upset with what she did in this game. He's pointing out a trend of her behavior that says something bad about her. He's saying that Reese's dislike of Clark has nothing to do with the game or competition. It's about anger and jealousy between people. He's showing proof to back it up. One observer said that the Indiana Fever have built a great team around Caitlin Clark because so many people want to play with her. To help their star, they've brought in a coach with a lot of experience and some successful veterans. The Chicago Sky, on the other hand, might look worse now than they did a year ago since no one wants to play with Angel Reese. According to the commentator, people who played with her at Maryland and LSU did not enjoy it. For example, Haley Van Lee, a rookie guard who had played with Reese in college, had the worst year of her career that year and moved just to get away from Angel Reese. There is no better way to compare the two. Clark is compared to a nice scent that makes people want to be around it. One builds teams and makes good settings, while Reese is angry and unpleasant. The other one breaks them down with her poison. This hit by Stephen A. is so powerful because he doesn't just attack Reese directly, he lets other people make the case for him while he just sits back and agrees. He is making up a story about Reese that she will find hard to break. That she's not only a tough competitor, but also a bad person who makes teammates and managers dislike her. And he's doing it at the most important time possible. Clark's arrival has brought the WNBA more attention than ever before, and first impressions are important. For many new fans who are tuning in for the first time, this story of anger and jealousy will color their first impression of Ree. Stephen A's ruin is made worse by the fact that he seems to imply that Reese's actions are bad for the league as a whole, not just for herself. The WNBA has a great chance to make money off of new fans, but Reese's antics could turn the league into a soap story instead of a place to see the best basketball players. Even worse, Ree is hurting her own credibility and making it harder for others to talk about real cases of discrimination by acting in ways that turn off possible teammates and fans, while also acting in ways that hurt her own credibility. It's clear what Stephen A wants to say to Ree. Grow up. Pay attention to your game and stop trying to build your brand around being against Clark. He is telling her that the way she is going now is not only bad for her, but it could also be bad for the league she says she loves.